Okay, we have a glitch again with
You're having a
your
glitch?
camera. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
see you.
Yeah, so I think I think Discord turned it off. I think I can
Mm.
either have screen share or camera, but not both. I think Discord's the one that crashes that.
Okay, we can start right now, like we are in the stream, like with sharing the game. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's
Yeah,
I
cool.
think
And
when we
that
are
sounds great. And
already
we could
here. What?
perfect.
Yeah, that's a perfect start for us. Like
Okay.
to introduce yourself, like in sense, like let's start introducing with work. Yeah, I just gonna make sound of your game to be background. Yeah, this is nice. Oh,
Perfect.
so the same like how we reach you. So basically, the same guy that made our music was, if I'm like correct, made music for you, Alexander.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
makes especially sounds. Did a lot of the sound design. We have a ton of sounds we need. So he did sounds and also is doing some music. Right now he's working on a pretty powerful boss battle theme with his electric guitar. It's gonna sound
Oh,
incredible.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, he's a really good musician,
Very
and
talented.
yeah, and really good technically.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
he knows his stuff. He knows his harmonic flow. He knows his production, everything.
And that's like kind of like um, really good for sound engineer and music, producer slash compositor for the games. He's full package. And like really make my job as a developer, and I'm sure like yours, much easier.
Agreed. I
Yeah.
think kind of our world is moving more and more towards full stack technical people who have the artistic skills but also the technical skills because technology like it's not going away. So I think everybody has to have increasing levels of technical skill just to be able to effectively function in the market with whatever their other skill is. I was watching a video the other day. Somebody was talking about the rise of like the content economy, and he kind of had some reservations about it. He says, you used to be like a musician or a videographer, or you used to do like drawing, but now with the age of YouTube and social media, everything is content. It's just all content. No matter what you do, it's just called content. And you have to not only do your art, but also kind of cover the marketing side so that you get enough exposure for your art. And so he was kind of talking about the implications on that for society and like, what will this lead us to? Is it more important to go viral or to be really good at your craft? How do you split your time between like trying to share your stuff and trying to learn the deep skills you need to create your stuff? So I thought that was a really interesting like exploration.
It is. It is. Okay, so we kind of jumped right into the conversation, which is, I think, good sign for our talk tonight. Yeah. So I need to introduce you. Like, this is Silas Reinagel. Did I correctly said?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. Thank you for
So
having me, Nicola. I'm very excited to be doing this interview to talk about our game and just talk about the art creation process in the game world right now.
great. So just for people to know, like, you are coming from Enigma Dragons.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, what is the background of your like team, of your like development team, studio or whatever? Like, I also like hinted like you have some awards, and like, can you like just have some brief history of like you as a team, Enigma Dragons?
Yeah. Yes, that's a fantastic question. So we started sort of as a local team. We're based in Phoenix, USA, which is in Arizona State. And we started with a few friends where they kind of had the dream of doing game development. One of our friends actually studied game development at Full Sail University in Florida, but he hadn't made any games or done much with it after school. So we were kind of got together, we're thinking, hey, what if we all formed a little studio and tried to build a game together? And then we realized like we had some programming skill and we've got a lot of experience with games, but when we started to create, we realized, oh, making a game is much harder than we thought. And so it did not go very well. We put in a bunch of months of work and we got nowhere. We didn't even have a playable prototype. We had all these big lofty ideas, but we brought the wrong methodologies to it. And so that project didn't really work, but that taught my brother and I, Noah, we learned, okay, if we want to do this game development stuff seriously, we have to learn like how do you actually create a game, because it's very different than making any other kind of software. So We started we did what we had night jams where we'd come together and in 4 hours we try to make some kind of little demo or prototype from scratch. And we unlearned all the rest of our techniques. We're like, we're just going to figure out how do you make something that's fun as fast as possible. And that kind of got us into after we did that for a few months, we got into the game jam scene. We entered Ludum Dare, Global Game Jam, Mono Game Jam, and did a whole bunch of those. So we kind of sharpened our craft by figuring out what happens when you assemble a small team and work in a very constrained schedule. What can you really build? Can you create something that's fun, that people like? Can you get that fun really fast for people? And that was sort of the beginning of the journey. And then after doing that for a bit, we're like, okay, I think we're now ready to build a real game. So we created, 2 years ago, I think we released it last 2020. We released in 2020 a puzzle game called Bit Vault, which was built in a very elegant, simple set of rules. And that one came out really nice. We had a theme that we liked, kind of this digital, dark cyberspace sort of world. And very few rules, but really deep gameplay based on those rules. And so that one, we kind of time boxed ourselves for like, how fast can we build this game and get it out there and get people having some fun? And it was a really good learning experience. We learned about the production process, like how do you ship a game? What things do you actually need to think about in marketing? Marketing was one of our biggest problems with that. We made a game that's pretty good, but we did not market it very well. And so with Metroplex Zero, which is our new project, we're building something much bigger and more ambitious because we're like, we know we can build a title, we know we can ship a title, we know we can create something fun. How can we also get this to the people and bring that marketing element too? And so that's been the two things we've been learning is how do you build something really big, and how do you market it so that the people who want to play this can like find your game? So that leads us to Metroplex Zero. This is a cyberpunk party-based card battler that's inspired by games like Slay the Spire, Magic the Gathering, and a little bit of stuff like Final Fantasy. We kind of fused those three together and created this. You get to customize your own deck, you get to collect cards, you're in this world with these mega corporations that's got a really interesting ethical world, and you're playing with a bunch of punks who think that the system isn't quite what it should be, and that there's some major flaws in capitalism and in ethics and in commercializing everything. And that even though governments in our world might not be perfect, is having rule by corporations like better, worse, different? Like, what is it like? So it's an exploration as well as a deep card game.
So you took like some philosophical / political exploration of like what if young punks actually reach the power, something like that.
Yeah, perhaps. I think it's an important question for people to be asking is like how, I think it's a question in everybody's mind. For anybody who cares about our world, they're asking like, how can I positively impact my society? And I like that dystopian fiction of all kinds, whether games or movies, sort of explores that space. And it asks like the world, you're kind of put in this world that already mostly is what it is. How can you make a positive difference? Like, what does a positive difference look like? What are the things that should be changed? And how would you go about changing them? And I love that mental space, because even if a game is just set in that setting, it kind of stimulates your imagination. You're thinking like, do I like this world? Would I want to live here? What would I change about this world? And so it's the kind of thing that sticks with you even when you're done playing. Like I grew up, one of my favorite games was Deus Ex, and I loved that it made me think about my world differently because I'd played it and seen what happens when government creates a pandemic and also like sells the cure. That was the plot line in Deus Ex, which kind of looked eerily similar to what we saw with coronavirus. It was very interesting. People were asking some of the same questions, like how did this disease originate? How is the government involved in like solving this? Are they doing this the right way? And so forth.
So do you think like are we like learned that this through popular or like culture or art in general, like that we question authorities? And like, if you didn't had stories like Deus Ex or I don't know, like Aldous Huxley, Brave New World, like, do you think like are we gonna like I'm not good in English, so trust me. Like, but are we ever question this time if it weren't like art forms like those, and now games like this, like stories that tell like about government corrupted systems that like produce problem and then like solve solution for the problem.
That's a great question. So I think there's sort of a circularity to it. I think if you have a world that has a moral element, which ours does, and you've got people who are thinking and conscientious, you're going to naturally end up with some art around that because the people want to express the thoughts they have. And then there's a circular aspect to it where after some people like Aldous Huxley and Brave New World and George Orwell with 1984 and The Matrix and by the Wachowski brothers and all those sorts of art, after people have seen and consumed that and are thinking about it, then they're asking those questions and becoming more thinking. So there's this reinforcing cycle where some people are kind of cutting edge thinkers who are expressing things, and then everybody else is now thinking about that because they saw what the creators made, and they're thinking about the world. Their analysis is richer because of those people who expressed their thoughts in a visceral form. That's my thing. So I think it's, could you end up with people thinking about things without art? Maybe not, but because people are thinking, you have the art, and therefore you have more thinking, which is a good system. Like, you want a world in which people are actively involved in creating and shaping the world around them to make it more of what it needs to be.
So we actually make much more change than we like are aware of or like want to realize.
Yes, absolutely. And I think people who are writers and speakers and art creators have a big role in that because they're setting the tone of the discourse and the public thought around these ideas. And so those ideas are helping shape what other people are thinking about. It's really exciting, and it's also a responsibility we sort of have to find how can you use your art as artists to stimulate that thought and help elevate society and help improve the lives of people around us. Because we're also not just trying to create it's good to have an experience where you walk into a movie and you have a good time for a couple hours and then you have some good memories afterwards. That's good. But what's great is after having watched a movie, you go live your life a little differently. Maybe you appreciate your children more, or you appreciate some aspect of work that you didn't appreciate before because work is hard. And now maybe you like it more, or you're more thankful for it. That's the kind of positive lifelong change that's the real goal of art, is a moment of enjoyment followed by an improvement of life.
I agree. And the next room, like commenting also, like that's a great thought too.
Yeah.
So like we use these forms to expand people's minds in sense to touch deep, dark, buried thoughts they maybe had or maybe not, but like just to like push people to think about things. But if we are like and you mentioned like Matrix and also like the
Yes.
Orwell and the Huxley,
Yes.
and many others, like starting from Thomas More, and are we like surrounded so much with this that this became some kind of double-edged sword? So are there now dangers, like you mentioned, like coronavirus? We entered this area, but like just let's stay short. Like I'll ask
Sure.
just this question, but like are we like became too much non-trustful, to each other, to authorities, or the ones who should probably?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Yeah, is society too distrustful now, both of each other and of the authorities and experts? So that's a tough question, because there's a very delicate balance. There's sort of a quadrant. In any ethical society, people are loyal to each other. Everybody's looking out for each other's well-being. That's the ideal of a healthy, ethical society. And so in a world where everybody is behaving that way, then maximum trust is the best strategy. Everybody should trust each other. Everybody's got each other's best interests in mind. Everything works out well. What gets interesting is when you have where people will exploit others for their own gain at the other person's expense. That's where you have non-ethical interactions. And in a society that has unethical interactions where maybe some company makes some product that is addictive but not healthy, some food or something, like maybe fast food, then that raises the question, like, should the consumer just buy it and trust McDonald's has got my best interest in mind, or Burger King has my best interest in mind, or should they think about, is this the best food I can put in my body? Is this good for me? So in a society where some things may not be mutually beneficial, distrust is healthy, because you'll end up with people, if they ask, like, knowing that this person might not have my best interest in mind, what should I do? That's a good question to ask, and everybody's better off asking that. So it's a really tough thing. I think in a perfect world, like, maximum trust is the ideal. And in a maximally broken world, where everybody's trying to exploit each other, dog eat dog world, maximum distrust is the best. In a real world, we're kind of in between those two extremes. So you need the right amount of distrust and the right amount of trust. And I think people are finding out what that is. I don't think we're too far off in either direction. Like, I think most people are pretty trusting of those very close to them. Usually you trust your friends, your family, those that you see on a daily basis. Like, most people trust those people pretty well. And I think that's good. And I think people are learning from all the rest of everything that's happening in the world, that those they don't know and don't do life with are less likely to have their interests in mind and are somewhat naturally distrustful. And each person varies, but I think we're in a pretty good spot around that. And all these just crazy things that have been happening in the past few years, those are helping people to see maybe not everybody in the world has my best interest in mind, which is a true realization in our world. So to kind of sum it up, I think we're at a pretty good level of distrust.
So, like, to return to the art, and then, like, we should proceed with games, but, like, we now art form.
Yes.
Developers. So do you think, like, there is some, we said all that now, some responsibility for art provide on the, like, end line, if not solution, at least, like, hope that there is, because there are many art forms like books, movies, where, like, those solutions are, like, non-existing and hope it's die. But, like,
nihilism.
Is it the rule, like, responsibility of art form provide exit hope?
Well, so you're asking a really deep question about the philosophy of art. I don't think that art has an exact ought. Like, there is no specific responsibility that art has to be anything. You could have art that says there is no answer, or that doesn't present an answer. You could have art that's very hopeful. Like we see in American cinema, almost every movie, no matter how bad the odds, the hero almost always triumphs. Maybe even a little bit more than we see in the real world, but that makes people feel happy, like there is this hope. But almost it's kind of weird, because you can walk into a movie and you already sort of know the ending before you've watched the movie, which makes it a little too predictable. So I don't think artists have a responsibility to offer hope. I think artists have a responsibility to share their insight on the world with people and create something that's compelling. Like, I think you can have something that's compelling in a positive way, like, I love that, I want more. You could have gameplay that's compelling, of, like, this feels good to play. You could also have something that sticks with you and it leaves a question in your brain. Maybe after you play a game, you're asking yourself this question about life for weeks or months. And I think that's also okay. Like, it doesn't have to do any one specific thing. And having a variety of games actually just helps all of the players, and we're all players too, to explore, like, what's our world? What does it mean to be human? Which is good. So I don't think there's a specific responsibility. I think the artist's job is to share their vision and their world and their paradigm with their players and make it exciting and engaging. And if we don't do that well, that's where we failed as artists, where our art doesn't express what we wanted, or we didn't excite or captivate somebody in some way.
Okay, you did the nice shift to game design. I think, like, we should, like, dive deep in your game now, like, to see what's your creation
Perfect. So this build, we're actually reworking the story. So this one has no story. It's just the roguelike gameplay, but we'll go ahead and kick off a game and we'll play a little run. I'll play probably with a party I've never played before. So you start out, you get to, this is a party-based card battler. So who you pick has a huge impact on how you're actually playing. We got 3 choices here. Miara, she's a cyber ninja. Lissa, she's an assassin. And Victoria, she used to work in Riot Security and is really good at protection. We can look at their stories, their cards, their initial deck, and their stats. We've got stats because the cards get more powerful over time as you increase your stats. You can have more defensive stats, offensive stats, sometimes special stats like dodge. This prevents the first damage you take. So she's got pretty low HP, but starts with a dodge. I just played Lissa in a recent run, so let's play Miara. I like Miara. She's really good. Okay, so we're on our way to our first battle. We've got 100 credits. That's how much money she's got starting out, and 1 universal clinic voucher.
Oh, what's that? That's something like dystopian.
Yeah, so clinics don't want to charge money for their services because that wouldn't be very ethical. So you just give them a voucher and they'll heal you up or give you a cybernetic implant.
Because that's much more ethical.
Much more ethical. You just give them a voucher. Now, if you don't have a voucher, you might have a problem. But if you got a voucher, you don't have to pay anything. Okay. I got my starting deck here. Strip defenses, thrust. I probably don't need this. They're sending a couple seeker drones against me. Let's get... okay.
So next
this is my starting deck.
Like you have all female characters.
No, we don't. We have actually about 50-50. They randomize. It's part of a roguelike. We've got currently 9 characters in the game, and it randomizes which ones you get to pick. For the first one, you could pick literally anybody in the pool. And then the second one, it makes sure you don't have somebody who does something that's too similar to your existing characters, so you get an interesting blend. All right, we're fighting 2 seeker drones. These aren't too dangerous, but they are gonna try to injure my maximum HP forever, so I need to take them out pretty quickly. We'll start, bash this one. I need energy to pay for cards. I have 2 more card plays. I don't have any energy yet, but I've got a backside. So every hero's got a basic card. I can flip this over and use the basic. This will give me some energy. And then I will finish taking out this guy. Boom. 1 seeker drone down. Okay, and same deal. We'll try to get him. He'll dodge. And finish him off with a thrust. A nice, easy first battle to get things started. Now I get to pick a card reward. I got some interesting options. We got quick cards. These don't cost a card play. I got something that'll decrease people's defenses over time. And just a little more damage. I guess I'm gonna grab this shuriken. I think it'll be useful. You can make somebody use their dodge a little bit early with that. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have 2.
The squad member now.
Yes, now we're adding our second squad member. This adventure's a 2-character party, and we've also played a lot with 3. The first adventure's just gonna be 2 characters, but we've played a lot with 3-character parties, and they're a lot of fun too. So this is where the synergies are gonna matter a lot. Because everybody brings their full stack of cards, and you shuffle all those characters' decks together, and that's what we end up playing with. So I've got somebody who's got really good damage and good at getting through defenses. Maybe now I want somebody who can help protect my team. So I think I like Victoria. We'll bring Victoria along. Now we got 2 people in the squad. And I got my new shuriken card. I'm gonna add this to my deck. And I'll take out this improvise. I can go to the card shop here if I want some new cards. I've got 190 Metro creds because now that Victoria joined, I have her money too. I gained a new clinic voucher, but I actually didn't take any damage. That fight went really smoothly. Really smoothly for a first one. Let's go see what they have at the card shop. One thing that's probably going to be good is if you have questions about what some of these cards do. Since I'm the game developer, like I know a lot of these keywords, we actually have rule panels. You can click on a card and see like what is dodge, what does that do, how does crit work, and so forth. Like this one, there's a lot of characters who have shields. In the futuristic world, like armor is not enough. Like you usually want an electronic shield to protect you from harm. So there's gonna be a lot of characters that have shields. So if you have questions around cards, definitely ask me. There's a lot of complexity here, and I don't want to skip over that if it's needed.
I'm just go for it. Like I'm type of gamer that just like dives in and like try to figure out without text.
Yeah.
Guidance.
Yes. Yeah.
But I see like basic, as you said, like basic keywords like count, lifesteal.
Yes.
Chain decoy, hold on, I'm not sure about that. But it's like some
Yeah, so
adding shit.
chain is a fun one. In fact, I'll buy this. We'll play this. We'll try to play this card in battle. That one seems fun. It's actually a really good card. All right, we're going to the surgical center. This is our first chance. We can now pay them for permanent body modifications. They have pretty big trade-offs. You can trade off, like here, I could lose 9 HP to gain 2 armor permanently, which is interesting. I have Victoria though, so Victoria is going to be able to help me a lot with keeping my party life. She's got 80 HP, so much tougher than Miara. And then she'll probably have some armor growth later.
So she can like tank and also buff.
Yes. Less buff. She's not a support. She's a tank who's also got, well, she's got some really interesting defensive technology cards. I will show you those. They are very fun. Do I want any of these? I guess I kind of want, I don't know if this is greedy or just right. I'm gonna get this unhealthy wart. I want some resistance in case they hit me with a lot of magic. So there goes down my HP, and now I've got 2 resistance. Okay, that's all. I don't want any more of these. They're a little dangerous. Like most
So,
medical
from
operations.
You can also like heal the characters or.
Yes, that's correct. So I don't have any damage, but if I do have damage, you normally pay them for healing. And the extra service is at Metagenics, they'll offer you those surgical implants, which are very risky. They might be amazing, or they might make your run harder. You kind of have to figure that out for yourself, what your playstyle is. All right, hunker down with the chain. I really want to play this one. This is a fun card. We're going to be facing Spiderling, Distractbot, and Hypervisor.
Strategy for every run, for every fight.
Yeah. A little bit. So I would say you normally have like your core deck, and then you tweak like 1 or 2 cards if they have something special you need. But mostly you're kind of shaping your deck toward building what your character's supposed to do. So I want her to be the damage dealer, and I want Victoria to be my tank. But she's got really interesting cards. Like she can consume her shields to blast people with. This one's really fun. The more shield you have, the more you can blast people. Okay, I don't get rid of one of those. He's got an armor, got resistance. So I'll bring in his strip defenses, hunker down. So yes, this is one thing that's different in our game, like in Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone. You can fully tweak your deck. It's not like a roguelike deck builder where you have to put every card you get in your deck, even if you don't like it. So you get to tweak things for every battle. That puts you in full control. If you lose, it's mostly your fault. It's not the game's fault. You brought the wrong deck or you didn't play it very well, which makes it more strategic. Okay, this looks like a good setup. Here we go. All right. The distract bot is taunting us, so we can't target anybody else until the distract bot is dead or his taunts wear off. We've got an improvised for 8 damage. This seems kind of useful. And then my basic, I can add shield to anybody. So this can help everybody to be a lot tougher.
So she's not
I guess I kind of like
the plain tank.
She's what?
She's not just a tank, like also be a little bit.
A little bit, yes, yeah. So I think this is what we'll do for this turn. I'm going to give myself a shield. Shield 9. So now I have 89 total effective hit points. And HP persists after battle, but shields are just for the battle. So if I don't get hurt, I don't have to pay clinic fees, which is really nice because clinic fees are expensive. I don't want to pay clinic fees. And let's give him a whack. Okay. So we played our 3 cards. No matter how many characters you have, you still get the same number of card plays. That's what makes it pretty interesting to figure out, like, how do you want to play your characters? Because you could play 3 cards by one character, 3 by another, or a mix. That's part of what makes it pretty fun. All right, they hit me for 6. My shield's still holding. This is nice.
The bot is also.
Yeah, he shield. Yep, he got a very nice shield. Very nice shield. So he's got 11 HP. This thrust to be perfect for taking him out. So, this is gonna be our first moment to show chain in action. Here we go. I'll puncture his armor and gain my 2 energy. Now his armor's gone. I'm gonna thrust for 11. This will be exactly fatal. And here I've got a chain card. So I'll play Impale, and since this is the last card that's being played, and I only played cards by Miara, I'm gonna get a bonus. So here we go. 6, and a bonus thrust, 11. Boom.
Tell me, you have like some combination, different playing cards, like regarding of click. Or like I saw, like you have different outcome if you play. Okay. Right?
Yes, so every hero has a basic card. Miara has a basic, so all of her cards, you can play it as the card it is, or you can flip it over and play your hero basic. You always have access to your hero basic if you've got a card of that hero in hand. So this also means that there's one move you can count on. No matter how many crazy cards you put in your deck, if I've got Victoria, her hero power is I can always do a shield. And for Miara, I can always reduce their armor and resistance, which that gives you something you can rely on when you're building your deck strategy. Okay. He's going to be shooting me. He's not very strong. So this is going to be pretty easy. I guess we just want to take no damage. So I've got energy. I want shield. And here we go. Reverse polarity. I'll lose half my shield, but finish him off for exact fatals. 27 minus 3. Boom. So that's why she's not just a pure tank. That defensive technology means she can use her powers offensively. Ooh. Oh, this is fun. This is also fun. I'm gonna go with another one of these. I like holograms. Since I got a squishy Miara, like Dodge is gonna help me a lot in this run, I think.
It's nice.
Okay.
Design.
Yeah.
Really.
Good. Thank you. All right, we're off to another battle.
Is really expensive. Really understandable. I please.
That's good. Clarity is something we've had to work hard on. We want to make sure that players are understanding how to play, that the hard part's the gameplay and not the interface. And that's tough, but we've had to refine it a lot. And hopefully it's coming across really nicely. All right, what's my new card? The new card is that extra hunker down. I like that. We got a hired cleaner who's very shifty. And a distract bot who's a jerk because he always prevents me from killing who I want to kill. Concussion is very good. Maybe only one riot shield. Okay, this looks
You
good.
want to take roll of the butt. What?
What was that?
Like, I said like you're gonna take roll of the butt. Count.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think I can kill this guy. I'll take a hit from him. I need my energy. Or I can shield up to prevent taking damage. I guess let's go for killing out this distract bot. I don't want him to be alive. Here we go. And finish him off. And a bonus chain card. All right. One of them down. We are dodged. Perfect. The shuriken. This is the best way, one of the best things in the whole world to get rid of dodges, because it doesn't cost me a card play. I get 3 plays, but this doesn't count against it. So I was ready for him. Now I just need to deal some damage. Oop, not that. Ah. But I have no damage. Yeah, I can't afford it. So I have only I got no energy. If I had energy, I could play it. I'm off by 1. So he's gonna get to live for this turn, which means I think I just shield up. Shield. And shield. Oh, I get a 3rd card. More shields. More shields. Shields all around. Okay, he's not gonna be able to hurt us. So she's a very strong tank. She can create some very powerful plays by keeping her team alive until you get a lot of enemies, which is nice. And he doesn't get paid enough, so I hit him and he leaves. He doesn't want any pain.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's a mercenary. He doesn't care about the corporations, just cares about his paycheck. Okay,
Usually
let's
you don't
see.
have explanation why they leave. That's one. They're like fear or something. But this is like really good explanation. In the world where
Yeah.
it belongs. I remember,
One of the things-
Did you play the Sekiro?
Which one?
Sekiro, did you play? There is one mercenary that's constantly asking him.
I don't think I remember that.
It's one at bridge of the enter of the Ashina.
Nice.
Remember?
That's good design. Like, it's fun to have character enemies and NPCs who have like motivations for why they're doing what they're doing that you can like understand and think about. That makes them really engaging.
Also for citing the that's like one thing like designers do. For citing the future of development.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
of the things that are gonna happen. Because in that particular game when you enter it, you see some like struggle. They're like on the edge. People are on the edge. They're nervous and interior minister entering, killing everyone.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah, that
nice.
creates a powerful moment.
So you here like depict your world with like who will win, like one who are paid or one who are like willing to die for the cause.
Yeah.
That's good. Like it.
We actually-
what's- Huh?
So we got a cool moment here. Now this is
Yeah, I
our
want to
first
ask
level
that.
up. So here we gain some new HP, more attack, and we also get to choose an augment that'll permanently have a passive effect on the game. These are pretty important because these actually change the way you start to build your deck and the way you play your character. So I've got 3 choices here. I've got anti-metallic particles that'll reduce everybody's armor. Our armor, enemy's armor, everybody. So this is pretty good if I just want to be able to cut through more, which might be useful. I got some regeneration accelerators. At the start of every turn, I'll heal 5% of my missing health, which I guess 5%, 50 is like maybe 2, 3 HP best case. so maybe 1 or 2 per turn. It's okay. Or when I become vulnerable or bloodied, below half health, then I gain 10 shield. So these are very interesting. I think for how squishy I am, I'm very, very low HP. Maybe I need this, because I just need Miara not to die. If Miara dies, I'm in some trouble.
Yeah, you don't have power. It's like
Yeah, because I have a tank as a partner. So now I can kind of see when I go to hero details, I see my augment. And as you go through the run, you get more and more augments that then totally change what you play. This is a common one, so it's not too big an effect, but they get really crazy later. And let's see, I wanted to talk more about that idea for, I'll show you in the next battle, but when you hover over your enemies, you're talking about how you can get an explanation. We got that idea from Tainted Grail. I don't know if you played that, but it's a brilliantly designed game. And they did that. They're thinking players want to be able to easily grok what an enemy's doing. And so here we've got this description, like a single sentence. You can kind of look, if you want an in-depth look, like you think about what's their HP, what are their stats, what are their cards, how much do their cards cost? And then you can kind of create your own mental model. But here's the fast version. You just read this. You know, the Spiderling, he's going to focus a single enemy and use poison and sharp legs to harm whoever he picks. So you kind of know what his strategy is. And one of the things we thought is each enemy should do something unique. They shouldn't just be like a different color or do something almost the same. We wanted every enemy to be doing something genuinely different.
so have different behavior.
Yes, different behavior, totally different role. Like we wanted, no enemy should feel like, oh, this is the same as that guy, but he does more damage. That's boring.
Yeah.
So, and I know this because I'm a designer, but the way I'll actually pick like which enemies to kill in which order is because I deeply know like what the enemies are doing, how they're interacting with each other. And so that helps me with target selection and like knowing like where does it get dangerous? Where could they really hurt me? But then for a lot of players, they kind of have to learn that over time. And sometimes you get wrecked by 1 or 2 enemies. You're like, wow, this guy destroyed me. How am I going to beat him next time? We'll get to some of them a little bit later. We haven't got to our first elite fight, but the elite fights they require a lot more of that thinking about what the enemy is doing exactly, how to beat them. So I like that idea from Tainted Grail of just a description. When you hover them in battle, it'll say like, this is what they're doing. Okay, we got a new card with Energy Circulator. This is really fun. It will boost somebody's attack or leadership based on how much shield they have. So you get rewarded for protecting them after you've put shields on them, if they kept their shields. All right, we're ready. Let's take on these bad guys. Center stage. I think we fought this group before, didn't we? They have a similar, they randomly roll the same group.
Was them, yeah.
Let's see. Okay, thrust. So now that I gain my attack, you saw from leveling up, this card used to say deal 11.
Yeah.
Now that I have more attack, it deals more damage. So your cards can get more powerful based on your stats. And those implants at the clinic, you can buy implants that'll increase that even more. Like I could have less HP and more attack sometimes. If I'm willing to trade off, like I might die faster, but I'll have a lot more damage. So it's pretty exciting the way these all scale mathematically with your character stats.
Strategy to try to nuke enemies.
Yes, yeah, you can try to go like glass cannon style strategy if you like.
So
Okay.
there was like in the Slay the Spire, armor-based attack for the Ironclad.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the, in fact, one of the best strategies for Ironclad, because you get defense plus offense at the same time. Very strong, very, very strong. Maybe even a little too strong. I never had a bad run with that strategy.
As soon as you start building like after 50 armor, like that was insane.
Yes.
It's only like overall speed. You don't see everything, but so like you can, when you fasten up with the game, you basically exclude some animation, or like you make actual faster game. Like, what's your approach?
Like how does the game play when you're really fast at thinking?
No. I see you have like top right icon like for. Fast
yes.
forward, yeah.
Yeah, so I can make just the whole thing, everything go. Animations are very fast this way.
Okay, so you basically just accelerate the game.
Yes, you speed up the whole game. So here we go, super fast speed.
So
Boom.
for pro player, like he can
Yes.
play 4 times faster. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Initially, I needed it because our animations were like kind of slow and clunky, and so like I could not play on 1x speed. We've been tweaking them and making them pretty smooth now, so I don't feel bad at 1x anymore. But we used to have to play at 2x or 4x just even to feel good about it. But yeah, you can play when you get really good. Like you can also, this is kind of fun. You can put multiple cards and queue them up before they even finish resolving, and they will show up here. I'll do that. Let me plan my whole turn and I'll play all 3 at once. But it's really nice. Okay, here we go. Shield. So you can queue them and play them even if they haven't finished, and they'll work. Oh, I misclicked. I played too fast, but
yeah, but it's showcase.
yeah. So yeah, for showcase, like you can play as fast as you want to play. You don't have to wait.
You can dictate the dynamics.
You can dictate, because I know in some games they're just slow and you feel like the game's slowing you down. Never want that feeling. Like I want people to feel like they can play as fast as they want. The thing that's the bottleneck should be your thinking, not the game. The thinking's the hard part, because these decisions affect your roguelike run. Like when you die, your run's over. You have to start from scratch. Okay, I got some very nice HP, more leadership, and I get 3 options. We have another emergency tactical shield. I could start with 2 taunt, or when I get damaged, gain armor resistance until the end of the next turn. Ooh. These are all pretty good. Maybe I like this taunt. And I can kind of do the thing the distract bot's doing. They're not going to be hitting Miara.
Like, you start with taunt, or you have like more turns?
I get 2 turns of taunt. That's what this augment will do.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah. So at the very start,
maybe can go like a little riskier gameplay and like.
Yeah.
To make Myra more damage dealing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that my favorite thing about the game is just the characters you pick. You have a totally different strategy with every 2 characters you play. You're never playing the same strategy, because every character's got their own unique 30 cards that you can find in the game. They've got their own unique basic that no other hero has. So they have a totally different role, and they also have some totally different augments that they can get rewarded with. And so that means that if I play like Miara Victoria, it's a completely different run than if I play Miara Alyssa, or Victoria and Yvette or something. Every party you play completely different.
And also I assume like the late game, when you have like different augmentations, they are much more different than original.
Yeah. The more rare the augmentation, the bigger the game-changing effect it is.
You can like bend the character.
Oh yes, and in fact, sometimes you can't be guaranteed to get an augment, but you could gamble your build and say, I really want this late game augment. I'm going to build my whole deck for this because I really want to crush that final boss. And if that pays off, like, it could be amazing. But then you might have sacrificed too much if you don't see it show up. So yeah, the prices here on skills are kind of based on that rarity. We got these common cards that are they're good, they're fine. Here we've got a rare. It costs 140 credits, but it's much more powerful. Much more powerful. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I forgot, like, just. Yeah.
This music theme is actually one of the themes by John Alexander. He created this music theme. I love it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. So this one's interesting. This card's an X cost. It can use as much energy as you have. It throws all of it, and you can do a lot of damage. If I pay like 4 energy, it's doing double my attack. If I pay 8 energy, it's doing 3 times my attack. So it kind of scales. But then the downside is after you use it, then you got no energy left. So it's kind of a trade-off.
Or nothing. It's finishing card.
Yeah, it can be a finishing card. That said, you can also get more energy. So sometimes you just want to finish off, like, yeah, finish one enemy or give one really big hit.
So can you like
I don't.
augment to have much more energy? So
Yes.
play on that card. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, one of the augments that's available for Miara that I didn't see this run, but every time you gain energy, you gain an additional energy. So that rewards your energy production in general by a lot.
Can you like
So this.
some like what are like obvious random factors? Or like you get random augmentations, random characters?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of things. Your pick 3 for the heroes, that's random. You get to pick 3 out of the 9 that we have. There's the pick 3s at the end of each battle. There's the pick 3 for the augmentations. This shop is random from the big pool of cards. There's like 60 cards that could be in here. And the rares and epics are the ones you'll see the least often because we see 5 commons, 2 uncommons, and 1 rare. So rares and epics, like, you have to decide if you want to go those. They're sometimes more complex. Like this has a lot more text on it than common. Common's much simpler. But this, if you know how to use it, can be really powerful. Like vulnerable for 3 turns means you're going to be doing a lot more damage. All attacks against that character. So it's an interesting option. So there's a lot of randomness. Yeah, those heroes cards. The enemies that you're facing, the inherent RNG in shuffling your deck and drawing your hand. And we've played a lot of card games, so we know like with casinos, they actually have regulations on what RNG they use. We kind of did a similar thing. We found out there was an exploit. If you didn't like the hand you drew, you could quit the game, reload the game, start the battle again, and you draw a new hand. So it's kind of a free way to get a mulligan. So we actually, in our saves, we already pre-save what the random number generator seed is before you draw your hand. So you go back and start the battle, you get the same hand.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the same thing in the Palace. It is.
Yeah, yes.
If you like give up run, like you basically start with the same.
Yes,
And,
yeah, that makes sense. That way you can't just kind of save scum it as an exploit. You actually have to figure out how you're going to play that game in that style.
Exactly.
And that forces you to learn. Like, I think that's a good thing of roguelikes. They want you to learn. You're trying to develop mastery, like not just learn one strategy, but ideally you want to learn a good chunk of the content in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so we almost need no healing. We've been really, really good on the defensive. Victoria is just a great tank. So we've been playing well, keeping her protected. On my last run, I actually had, before this point, I already lost a character. And had to heal them. They were at 1 HP. They just barely survived. This run's going really nice. This defensive setup's helping a lot. So we can look at these implants again. This is where we could, like, this seems strong. I'll have maybe less shield generation, but, well, maybe I don't. Maybe I like the defensive technology, so maybe I like the leadership. But I can give up some HP. I'm really tanky. So 2 resistance sounds good. I can't risk this on Miara. I do not want to lose my attack, so I only want that implant, no others. And I don't want to heal. I don't want to use a voucher for 2 HP. Not a good deal. Bye-bye, Metagenics. Okay, well, I think that might be almost all the time we have for gameplay. I'll go ahead and stop the screen share. We could just wrap it up with any more questions or ideas.
Yeah, so let's try to fix your camera.
Yes, yeah. Let me quit this. I'll turn off the screen share in Discord. And then we'll try camera.
So we can see your face. Oh, hello.
Hello, I'm back. Yeah, Discord didn't like the screen share plus the camera at the same moment. Maybe it's my computer. Probably I just have the wrong computer set
like
up.
softwares are like other like messing. Don't allow. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a real nice game. I really like it. I really like it. Looks good. I like the freedom of like fast pace of slow pace of planning and everything to have like a lot of variety. And the thing I like the most probably is like same regard. I can like build my own strategy, even if it's like bad strategy. And that's I think I know like that's a really good challenge. Like running game, like finding the right strategy really fast. So like we mentioned Hades. It's hard to make quality randomization, but like I like the feature like you said, like it force you to play the same game, you know, to go through same path until you finish it properly. I like it. I really like it because I think like if you start cuddling the player, you're gonna lose it,
Mm.
you know, because like
Yeah,
most
I
of
think
players.
cuddling shows that you don't respect your players, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it works good for like games for smaller kids. Like I was reading reviews of the new Kirby game that
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo just came out with, and some people who loved Super Mario Odyssey, they're like, I wanted to like Kirby because I wanted it to be the same thing, but it was too easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the things is to build a game well, you have to know like which age group and experience level are you aiming for,
Mm-hmm.
and are you delivering them the right amount of challenge? Because if you don't have the right amount of challenge, people won't be having fun because they can't learn anything new. And if you have too much challenge, they're frustrated and they like throw their
Mm-hmm.
controller and give
Mm-hmm.
up and don't want to play your game ever again. So it's very important to like know who's supposed to play the game and then create something that's the right challenge level. And for this, we wanted to aim at like we want to have a higher complexity level than Slay the Spire. We want people who like that, but we want some crazier builds and some like more interesting combinatorials. One of the things we found for the RNG, one of the tricks for RNG to make it good is you have to have the possibilities of what can be rolled need to be interesting, because a lot of the people they'll throw RNG in, but there's not a meaningful distinction. Like, do I want to do 6 damage or 8 damage? Well, that's easy. That's not even a choice.
Yeah.
Um, so you have to make sure that it's actually meaningful difference. Like it'll create a different play pattern. And you also have to just have enough content, because if people are seeing too much of the same stuff, then they'll be like, oh, this isn't good RNG, but it's not the RNG's fault. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the two elements that we've been kind of finding are the most important is meaningful choices, which are one of the hardest holy grails in design,
Yeah.
and enough content.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have a lot of good content, I can say. Like,
Thank you.
in what stage is the game like? I see on Steam like in wish list.
Yeah, so
So,
it's alpha with the wish list. We're currently working on getting a trailer made, and we're trying to bring in a wave of beta testers.
mm-hmm.
And we're hoping to launch with beta and early access in the next few months, maybe June.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will use that kind of to get a lot more players, and then evolve and polish bits and smooth out the runs and make sure all the heroes are exactly what people want them to be, like they're delivering those fantasies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at. Is we're wrapping up the alpha phase right now and about to enter beta and early access.
Nice. So we expect you soon to get
Yes.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Okay.
if you want to jump in and play, you or people on your team, like reach out. We're totally happy to have alpha
Please. Yeah.
testers and beta testers, and we're giving away free keys for that. If
Mm-hmm.
people will come and play and give us feedback, that's a free key.
Mm. Okay. I keep that in mind. Okay. So thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your game. Really good talk. Really nice to. I hope
Yeah,
like
thank you. This has been a very fun conversation, Nicola. I feel like we could go for hours. I have more things I have to do today, but it feels like it'd be easy to
yeah, yeah,
just.
it's end of the work day, like, and then like I think like we own ourselves like to get rest, even like though
Yes.
when, and I believe it's same for you, like when you're in this like game development, you can like go on and never get sleep.
Yeah, you need an off mode. We
Mm-hmm.
have a motto in our house: work hard, play hard, rest hard. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to focus on one or two, but you really need the trio to be a healthy, happy human. You need to make space for play. You need to make space for rest, and of course, work. But that's not a problem for you or me. Some people, that's their problem. They're easy playing and resting, but work they don't like. We
Mm-hmm.
have the opposite problem as game developers. We're happy to work hard, but we
Yeah.
don't rest very well. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to.
I can relate. Okay, that's a good way to end the talk. Good message. Okay. Hopefully we're gonna have talk when you finish game or sooner. We stay in touch, and like that's it for this talk. Thank you again
Thank you so
for your
much. Have a
time.
good one.